Welcome back for week 4, running strength training for beginners. This is a 30-minute workout. Dumbbell or kettlebell is encouraged, and we will use a resistance band, but we will have an alternative exercise when that comes around. But let's start with a warm-up. So we'll do 30 seconds each, starting with jumping jacks. Here we go. All these warm-up exercises are excellent to do right before a run. Just gets the body temperature up, gets the major joints moving, gets the muscles warmed up. And just go at your own pace. As you get into it, you can go a little faster, or if you want to slow it down, it's up to you. Now we'll go into toe walking, so up on your toes, nice and high, heels up off the ground. Really feel the back of the legs working. Walk forwards, walk backwards. You can do some side-to-side walking. Goal is just to, again, warm up the muscles, get some different angles in there. Keep going on the toes, keep those heels nice and high, feel the calves work. Okay, now we're gonna go onto the heels, so heel walking, toes up nice and high, toes towards the shin, get the front of the shins nice and warmed up. Go forwards, go backwards. Side to side. You can take bigger steps, you can take smaller steps, go a little faster. The goal is just to warm up those muscles. Okay, now we're going into step over. So for this one, we're going to lift our leg up and over, picturing there's a fence about knee height, and we're trying to step up and over. Really good hip opener. As you get into this warm up, you can try going a little higher and exaggerate that rotational motion through the hips. Okay, now we're going to get into some skips. So for this one, we're going to skip. You can do it in place, or you can do it with a little bit of motion going forward, but trying to drive that knee up nice and high. So here we go. Driving the knee nice and high each time. Okay, now we're going to do a different hip opener drill. So you're going to stand on one leg, so it works on stabilization on the stance leg, and then we're going to rotate our hip out and in, so the lower leg acts like a windshield wiper. So just go out as far as you can each direction. Try to keep the pelvis nice and level while you do it, so you're not bending through your back or your pelvis. Switch sides. Oh, lost my balance. So in and out. Just trying to get some external and internal rotation through the hips while keeping the stance leg nice and engaged. All right, shake that out. The last one we're gonna go into is ice skaters. So we're gonna hop side to side, and when we go to each side, the leg will swing behind the stance leg. So here we go. This is an excellent exercise to help warm up the inner and outer hip and thigh muscles. Okay, that does it for the warm up. Now we're going to go into our core strengthening. We're going to start on our backs with single leg glute bridge, move into the dead bug, side lying hip abduction into mountain climbers, bird dog, and then we're going to finish with a Pallof Press, which you will need a band for. Otherwise, we'll do side planks. Start with 10 single leg glute bridges. Here we go. Keep the core engaged, land with a flat back, knowing that you're keeping the core engaged. Press up through the back side of the hip every single rep. Strong squeeze at the top. Switch sides, 10 more. Make sure you're getting all the way up as high as you can, squeezing through that glute. Okay, now we're going into the dead bug. So arms straight out in front of the shoulders, and you're gonna lower the opposite arm, opposite leg, and you're gonna alternate. Here we go. Shooting for 10 on each side, 20 total. Keeping that back pressed down towards the ground. If this is slightly too challenging, you can keep the knee bent to 90 degrees. So as you lower from the hip, you'll keep that 90-degree bend and just tap with your foot on the ground and then come back versus straightening the leg all the way up. Now if it feels real easy, you can do what I'm doing in the video where I'm using the arm and knee that are still elevated and pressing them together. This will help encourage a little more contraction through the abdominal muscles. Okay, moving on to the next exercise. Put your arm straight underneath the shoulder, knee on the ground, top leg is straight, starting in front of the body and then bringing it up and back about 20 to 30 degrees. Here we go. Really focus on squeezing through those outer hip muscles. Great exercise for the glute medius. Can help with hip issues, low back issues, and IT band problems. And let's switch sides. Let's do 10 more on the other side. Strong squeeze at the top. Okay, shake that out. Now we're going into a high plank position or a push-up position. We're going to get into the mountain climber. So you're going to hold that high plank and try to stay nice and stable as you're doing so, and you're going to bring your knee up towards the outer elbow and keep alternating sides. Here we go. So again, holding a nice plank. Try not to rotate, try not to dip, staying nice and stable. If you need to slow down, that's okay. Just go at whatever pace allows you to do the exercise successfully. A few more reps, keep going. All right, done. Now we're gonna go into the bird dog. So for this one, you're gonna get into a tabletop position. Arms underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, and you're gonna lift up the opposite arm, opposite leg, and trying to keep your torso, your body nice and stable while you do the motion. Think about reaching with your arm in front of you to try to lengthen the spine, and with the foot behind you, reach behind you to try to lengthen the spine. Do 10 on each side. So reach and then bring the elbow and knee together. With the leg as it straightens out, try squeezing through the glute. Now let's switch sides. Reaching through the arm, through the leg, elongate the spine, squeeze the glute. Now we're going to go into the Pallof Press. So if you have a resistance band, you can hook it around a doorknob or anchor it to something around your house, and you want it about waist height. If you do not have a band, then you can just do side planks as an alternative exercise. So you're going to grab the band, and then you're going to walk out until you feel a pretty decent pull from the band. So this is an anti-rotation exercise that the band wants to rotate your body, and you need to resist that. So you start with the hands in front of the chest, feet about hip width apart, and then you're going to just press your arms straight out, and that's going to increase that rotational pull from the band. So here we go. If it feels too easy, then you can walk out and give yourself more resistance. If it's too hard, then walk back a little closer towards the anchor point. Okay, now we're going to switch sides. So if you're doing side planks, do the other side now. Here we go. So again, walk away for more resistance. Walk a little closer to it if you need it a little easier. Just push the arms straight out. You'll feel your core really engage each time you press the band out. Okay, our core should be nice and warmed up now, and we're going to get right into our strength circuit. So we are going to start with the Bulgarian split squats using a kettlebell or a dumbbell, right into a push-up. We're going to do a single leg RDL with a kettlebell or dumbbell. We're going to do a banded row with squat, or if you don't have a band, then we're going to do a W retraction, and then we're going to end with a triple extension. And the triple extension is where we're going to start in a squat position, and we're going to press up all the way through our toes so we get full extension through our ankles, knees, and hips all at once. And if you don't have weights, that's okay. You can just go through with body weight, but I'm going to start with a kettlebell for the Bulgarian split squats. So you need a chair or a bench. Put the lead leg forward, back leg up and a little bit out on the bench, and you're going to lower down to where the knee almost touches the ground. I recommend keeping the torso lean forward a bit so that then it will help initiate your glutes and your hamstrings a little bit more. Here we go. So really feel those glutes engage, hamstrings engage. As you're pressing up, you're going to get the quads as well. After 10 reps, then we'll switch sides. So let's do the other leg. All right, shake that out. Now we're going to go into push-ups. So down on the mat. Hands just wider than the mat. Hold yourself in a nice plank position, and you can do this from the knees, or for more of a challenge, doing a full push-up from your toes. So we'll do 10 reps. Here we go. Now we're going to go into a standing position. We're going to do a single leg RDL. So with this one, our lead leg is going to be doing majority of the work, and we're going to work on hinging through our hip. So our whole body and other leg is going to be rotating around the hip. Think about sitting back and down into the hip of the lead leg. This will engage the posterior chain, the glutes, the hamstrings. So go nice and slow on the way back so you can start feeling that engagement, and then you can work on coming back up to standing a little quicker to get a little more quick contraction of the muscles. Hold the weight, if you have a weight, on the side of the leg that's going back. That helps with counterbalance. So we're going to do about 10 reps each side. Here we go. So feel the hamstrings and glutes, and then a nice strong contraction to get yourself back up to the full upright position. The goal is not to touch the ground, just go as far down as you can comfortably with your own range of motion. Just keep reaching until you feel that hamstring and glute engage, and then come back up. Now let's switch sides, 10 on the other side. Think about keeping the hips square towards the ground. A big mistake is people will rotate through their pelvis. So just try to stay nice and stable for the duration of the motion. Okay, now we're going to go into a banded pull. So if you have that band still hooked up, you're going to grab the band, you're going to walk it out with some resistance, and you're going to sit into a shallow squat, and then we're going to do rows. So you're going to pull and squeeze your shoulder blades firmly together to work those mid-back muscles while holding that squat. If you don't have a band, just do the motion and work on squeezing those shoulder blades real firmly together, bringing the arms back just like I'm doing in the video. Holding that squat, squeezing those mid-back muscles, shoulder blades together. And think about keeping your rib cage down as you're doing the pull. You don't want to let that rib cage flare up and arch through the spine. Okay, now we're going to go into the triple extension. So we're going to go from a squat all the way back up to standing through the toes in one motion. So feet just wider than hip shoulder width. You're going to go all the way down and then up through the toes. So down, all the way up through the toes. Here we go, 10 reps. If you lose your balance like I did on a couple of those, it's okay, just reset and get right back into it. Okay, that does it for round one. Take a little breather, get some water, and then we'll start back up with the split squats to start round two. Okay, so back to the split squats. Back leg up on a chair or couch, pulling the weight on the side of the body where the leg is up on the elevated surface. Here we go, 10 reps. Let's switch sides. So again, I recommend leaning a bit forward when you do this. If you're a little too upright, you'll really initiate the quad contraction, and I want you to feel it in the hamstrings and glutes equally. So leaning forward will allow you to sit back and down to that hip a little bit further. And go at your own pace, 10 reps. Okay, set the weight aside. Let's go into push-ups. So again, you do it from the knees or do it from the toes. Keep your body nice and aligned. And here we go, 10 reps. Okay, stand back up, and we're gonna go into the single leg deadlift. So if you have weight, grab your weight. And another option for the single leg deadlift, if you're struggling with the balance, is that you can use a foam roller or a chair for some support while you do it. This can help you stay nice and stable through the hips and nice and square to the ground with your hips, so you're not rotating around, so you get the most out of the exercise. Okay, so we'll do 10 on each leg. Here we go. Body nice and straight, sitting back and down into that lead leg hip. Feel the contraction through the hamstrings and the glutes. I had to do a little stutter step right there, that's okay. Just put your foot down, then get right back into it. Switching sides, 10 on the other side now. Okay, weight aside, and then we're going to grab the band. We're going to go into the squat with the row. And if you don't have the band, just hold the squat, and then you're going to still squeeze the shoulder blades together, making a W with your arms. Here we go, 10 reps. Strong squeeze each time. Okay, now we're going to go into the triple extension. So we're going to go squat and press all the way up through our toes, one motion. Okay, there's round 2. Take a little breather, and then we'll go into our third and final round, starting with the split squats. All right, so here we go, final round. Focus on the form. Your glutes should be really burning this last round. Let's switch sides. We'll do 10 more reps. Here we go. Okay, going into the push-ups now. Starting to get pretty tired at this point. Almost done. So let's go into the push-up. Knees or toes, 10 reps. There we go. Now let's stand back up, and we're going to go into the single leg deadlift. So grab the weight if you got it. 10 reps each side. Keeping the body nice and straight, hinging through the hip, using the hamstrings and the glutes to bring you right back up to the standing position. And switch sides. Now let's go into our last round of rows. So grab the band. Walk back to get your resistance, sit into a squat, and let's do the rows. And again, if you don't have the band, just sit in the squat and just work on the same motion through the shoulder blades and the arms, squeezing the mid-back really strongly each repetition. All right, final exercise, triple extension. Squat, pressing up all the way through the toes. All right, that's it. Now let's go into the cool down. Let's start with a couch stretch. So use the chair or couch bench that you use for the split squats and put your foot up on top. Lean forward in a lunge position. Squeeze the glute on the side we're about to stretch, and then use that lead leg to push our whole body back into a nice quad hip flexor stretch. As you hold it and the stretch starts going away, then you can push yourself back a little bit further. Deep breaths while you're holding. And switch sides. Other leg up. Squeeze the glute. Use the lead leg to push yourself back until you feel that strong quad hip flexor stretch. Deep breaths. Okay, come out of the stretch, and then we're going to go into a kneeling position. One side you're going to kneel, the other side leg straightens out, and then you're going to use your hands to help with your weight distribution, and you're going to sit your butt back towards that heel, trying to feel a nice inner thigh stretch. Now switch, so kneel on the opposite leg, other leg straightens out, arms for support, keeping your back nice and straight, and sitting back down towards that kneeling leg. Feel that stretch in the straight leg, inner thigh. Okay, now let's go on to our backs, and we're going to go into a figure 4. Reach through the figure 4, grab your thigh, pull your leg towards you. This is a nice Piriformis stretch. As you pull the thigh towards you, you can use your elbow to push the leg that we're stretching into a little bit further rotation. Let's switch sides. So figure 4, reach through, grab the back of the thigh, and you'll see a little bit better now that you can use that elbow to push into the thigh to get a little bit more rotation, a little bit further stretch. And after the figure 4 stretch, take some time to stretch out other areas that you know could use some work. But this wraps up week 5 beginner strength training for runners. Tune in next week for the final video of the series. And after the beginner series, we will release ongoing weekly workouts for runners to follow. So please subscribe, share with friends, and we'll see you next week.